I get to do all these things that I always wish that I could do with my dad. So all these things in my life that I've always tried to do, and it's like, be careful what you pray for, because I prayed that because my parents were always working, like 7 days a week, I prayed that I would have time with my kids. And so I don't regret anything, but I became ill and disabled, and then you guys too. And so we had to homeschool, and then now we're together, and now you're doing school right here with me, and we get to enjoy a time together, and we get to cook together and be up here in this beautiful, beautiful mountains. All the things that I always wished for that I had with my dad. But he couldn't because he had to work. He was an immigrant. And they had to work, 7 days a week. They worked all the time. I was by myself since I was 5 years old. I almost burnt the house down at 5 years old frying eggs. I was frying my own eggs at that age. So, praise God, though. So are you happy being up here? What can you say about your relationship with me that can relate with your relationship with Abba in the heavens?
I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to talk to him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. Keep going. Be totally honest.
Our relationship isn't as strong as it should be.
Okay. And why would you say that is?
I don't know.
Tell me what you feel.
I don't know.
Do you feel he doesn't care so much about your world?
I don't know. Sort of. Maybe not.
Do you feel like he's not interested in a lot of your world stuff?
Sort of. This is true.
Because it's true.
Oh.
But get this. The Father feels that you're not interested in his kingdom and the heavens enough. He told me your name was Ephraim. You were the spiritual Ephraim. You were the symbol of Ephraim. So that's how he teaches me. So you as Ephraim are very interested, and you were named Dimitri. You know what Dimitri means?
Lover of the earth.
Yeah. I went with Mom. She chose the name. I think it was a soap opera star or something like that. But so we can't blame you for anything that you like the earth stuff. You like the worldly things. You know what I mean? Can't blame you for that. That's where you were created, and that's who you are as personality. But the Father says you're not interested in the family business. What I'm trying to say is the spiritual things. Because you're so gifted spiritually that I really want to exploit that. I want you to use it. And you've been bearing it. And this is what he talks about us bearing our gifts. So let me ask you a question. What do you think he means that if you put... Have you noticed that any time that you seek the desires of the Father's heart or the Father's kingdom first, that he actually blesses you and gives you what you've wanted? That's what happens, huh? And what does that show you?
To follow him.
To follow him, yeah. And seek his kingdom. Seek the kingdom of heaven first, and he'll give you all the desires of your heart. What are your heart's desires? What is your heart's desire?
To be happy.
To be happy. Okay.
Yeah.
No, tell me from your heart. To be happy, right? It's basically you just want to feel happy and joy.
Yeah.
And what do we know is the spirit? What is joy?
What is joy?
Yeah, what is joy?
Um,
It's a fruit of something, isn't it?
Fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah. So why are we trying to fulfill this joy out of the world? This is all the story of the prodigal son. We're learning it through the scriptures, and you're not. I'm not saying you're a prodigal son, but in a lot of ways, he has you as an image of that, in a sense. Okay, not in. But the prodigal son wanted to. He took his inheritance early because he wanted his money. He's like, my daddy's rich. I can go out in the world and have some fun, and I can have all the things I've ever wanted and my heart's desires. And he went and wasted it on hookers and all kinds of things out there, right? He did all these things out in the world. And then he got to the point where there's a financial collapse, and he got to the point where he was jealous of what the pigs were eating. And then he decided to come home. And that's what changed everything, isn't it? That's the story of who we are. That's the story of Ephraim, right there. It's the story of the marriage taking place, the lost 10 tribes. But so did he find the joy out there?
Temporarily.
They're like, what does the Bible say about the temporary joys, about the temporary joys of the flesh? It only lasts how long?
They don't last long and they go away.
They go away, and then you keep having to feed it. It's like a monster you keep having to feed. It is. I've noticed that. Anytime if I've sinned, it becomes a snowball effect until I repent of it and stop. But it'll keep snowballing bigger, 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 and then you have to, you stop it in its tracks. But so if joy is a fruit of the Spirit, and we're trying to get it we're trying to get it out of our earthly. Oh, no. Told you. You do that. If we're trying to get it from the earthly realm, we're trying to fulfill it in the flesh. And that's something, it's fine, it's pleasure, and it's things on this earth. But what I'm trying to say is, what he's teaching me is when you seek him, you seek his kingdom first, he literally gives you all the things you've ever wanted. Now, I've sought his kingdom. I have the son I've always wanted. I have the other son that I've always wanted. I have Yehuda and Ephraim. I have both. I have the wife I've always wanted. I have the cabin. I have all these things that he's given us that was to bless us. It was basically a work or whatever, and it wasn't, I couldn't even enjoy before because I was always in pain. But now, with his Spirit, I can actually come out of my body. When he comes in, I can come out and not have to experience the pain, and he actually experiences it for you. That's what you see with every lamb that's being slaughtered. This is what's going on. It's because it's his way of showing that he wants to be here with you. It was his way of buying his bride back. It had to cause pain and suffering and shedding of blood. But so anyway, your whole desire in life is you want to find joy. So what the Father's trying to say is, but if joy is fruit of the Spirit, why are you looking in the world to find it? Are you going to find the joy in the material if it's a fruit of the Spirit? How about love? Did you see what we're just watching about Enlil and Baal and all that? And it's basically Satan. And he has no mother, he has no brother, he has no sister, he has no priest that would talk about him. He doesn't care if he sins or not. It's basically total aloneness. You know what I mean? And being separated from God. They don't have love, is what that is. They're only here to please their own flesh. And so praise God, he's basically teaching us now how to come out of this world, out of Babylon, and enjoy life the way he made it. And then guess what? So then he gives you the pleasures of the flesh too. Because now he's like, hey, I want to enjoy that with you. That was the whole idea. that he can come down to earth and enjoy life with us. But he can only come into vessels that are willing to receive him. And so you know what it costs to do that? It costs you your it costs you your reputation. It costs you everything. You have to leave mother, family, brother, sister. It literally says, unless you hate your mother, your brother, everybody, you're not worthy of the kingdom. What it's trying to say is, what you hate in them is when they sin, you already know now the truth and where the blessing comes. So when they sin, now they are basically, when you want to open that up and put it in there for me? When they sin, they're basically separating themselves from God. And what true love is to expose that and actually be in love. Yeah, but be careful. Don't get, there you go. Is to expose him. And so my thing, the reason what makes me act and everything that I do, because I don't want to do most of these things. No, don't play with it too much because it'll get broken. I don't want to play with any of these things anymore. It's not my desire to do these things and what I'm doing. I'm doing it because of love for him. And I'm doing it. My anger rises up because it's his anger in me. And he's angry at the lies that leaders are saying and keeping people in a state of fear, to keep them enclosed under their protection, he's a godfather. I see that Peter has the godfather spirit. He got so happy when I called him the godfather. I said, let me kiss your ring. And it flattered him, because that's what he wants. What he doesn't understand is the kingdom is not coming the way he thinks it is. He thinks it comes by the way the world thinks is holiness, and what the world thinks is power and might, and it's the whole quarterback, and I sound right, and I have authority, and it's like, oh my gosh, you have a house of there's nothing. Mm-hmm. Unless he does it the way Father wants him to do it. And he already has. He just needs to allow others to receive it. He's starting to, because he's becoming humbled. He has to. He has to. That's what I'm doing here. It's out of love. So can I ask you a question? Have you thought that I was hard on you? Pretty hard on you growing up, huh? Mm-hmm. What was the worst part? What was the hardest part?
What was the hardest part of what?
Well, growing up with me as your dad. What did you say? You just said you felt I was hard on you. Yeah. Tell me why.
Like if I did something, then you would like get really mad at me. But like after seeing like another family and like how lax they are with them, and you know. So
you're glad that you had discipline.
Yeah.
In the end, you're happy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How does this relate to the Father of God?
You don't like it initially, but you realize it's better that it's that way.
His discipline is good discipline. It's not. Did it ever feel evil? Did you ever feel like I was evil?
Not evil.
Okay. Well, how would you just say mean?
Mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but just mean and not right for doing what I was doing, like over. Yeah. Like over whatever. Mm-hmm. But all these things, it feels like it, doesn't it? And I know, and you read the Bible, and what does it say about having him kill, baby, child, everything, and the whole, having do these things to his people, mm-hmm. telling him what to do. He had him kill their own family members. Mm-hmm. Did he not? At the 3,000 that died?
Wait, what?
Remember it? And after the golden calf. Remember? Didn't he have them go out with swords and kill each other?
I don't think so. Wasn't it that he opened up the ground and swallowed all the people?
No, that's Korah. That's another thing that's coming. That's a spiritual thing that's happening right now, actually. But yeah, no, he had. What I'm trying to say is, what we think is evil, the Old Testament God, Yah, most Christians or most of the world thinks he would be evil, all these things. And he's literally coming back now as an ox. And he's coming back as a fire to bring judgment, which everybody's been asking for. And they're going to think he's evil for it. Because They don't like the discipline. They don't like to have laws. But you see that. Can you turn that for me? No, just turn. I shopped at the dollar store last night. I'm trying gluten again, so I'm all excited. I'm sure it's not going to last.
Yeah.
But dollar jerk, what is it called? Jerk chicken empanada. Let's see how that is. You want some fries? Get the fries while they're hot.
No,
I told you I was making them though. Eat some. I told you I was making them. Anyway, because I asked you if you wanted fries and a cheese sandwich, and I made the cheese sandwich. And anyway, so okay, God, yeah. I'm not going to say God. I don't want to say God anymore. Let's say Yah. Yah is good because Yah encompasses everything, it seems to me. So, how was Yah a good father to you? Expressing through me. You just said you're happy that you got the discipline.
Yeah.
Because it was hard. You know how hard it was? You know, basically it's hard on the father. I realized I was a control freak. I mean, I would control like all the things that you would go and try to do and get into and stuff and say, no. It was a constant, you know. But you're happy that because you realize other kids have no self-control or whatever, and you see what happens. We see it all the time, don't we?
Yeah.
So the father likes, what does he like in the house?
Discipline or...
Yeah?
Like,
But why does he like that? Why is that? Obedience. That's good. Why is he like that?
Why is he like that?
Yeah, why does he want that in the house, do you think?
Because disobedience leads to it leads to disorder and
Yes, chaos. Exactly. So, when we do the things of the Father's way in the Father's house, it leads to peace, doesn't it? You've noticed the difference when I have peace and when I have not. I'm an example of the Father in the house. And every father is supposed to be an example of Yah in the house, as a priest, as a king. And he's just teaching us how to do that. But when there's peace and there's shalom, you see it permeates everything. There's just a presence, isn't there? He's in the house. And why do we get that? Why is it that we get that? When did we start getting it?
when we start homeschooling.
Yes, but why did we start homeschooling?
Because God was telling you to homeschool.
And what did he tell me was going to happen if I didn't do it?
That I would get sicker and sicker.
And what was happening?
I was getting sicker and sicker.
You were in the nurse's office every day. Yeah. And I'm like, we don't know how to homeschool. My wife works. She's gone 3 days a week, and I don't even have a high school diploma. I got D's and F's in anything I did in school because of being sick. And praise Yah. It was all to bless us, wasn't it? So what did we start doing at the house? What happened when I was in church and he changed, and he was angry with me and angry with the pastor and told us about keeping the Sabbath and stuff? What happened when we started keeping the Sabbath?
We started having more peace.
We started having shalom. Exactly. When we started respecting the Sabbath, we started having his shalom. That's what we say, Shabbat Shalom. And then what happened? Started happening. We started keeping his laws. What started happening?
Then we started connecting with God better.
Yes. Because what do commandments mean?
Laws or...
Yeah, but it also means something what you just said, connecting. It means connecting to him. It's the marriage agreement. So let me ask you a question. If you disobeyed me every single day, all the time, and thought, oh, you know what? I've got my dad's name. He's never going to do anything to me. How big in the kingdom would you be?
Not very big.
No. And how close to the Father would you be?
Not very close.
No. So if we follow the Father's laws and seek his kingdom, his business, then he gives us all the desires of our hearts. When the prodigal son came home, what was the father doing?
He slaughtered slaughtered the fattened calf and
Yes.
party for him.
Yes. Hallelujah. That's going to be the red heifer. Ishematoria hanam baro akanim matoya shani. Ivirashoya hanam variokonam kunamani. That's the wedding supper of the Lamb. That's the son coming home because Yehuda can't do it. But I can. He told me they were going to ask me to do it. And I don't know how that is going to happen, but whatever it is, it is. But do you see what this is? The marriage supper. Let's just say you were lost. Okay, and Yehuda kept following the laws. Didn't do it all right all the time. You know, he's got his own issues, right? He's got his own issues. But you, Ephraim, you like to play with the world a lot. You know what I mean? You like to question Dad, and you like to play with the world. But you're not that your heart's bad or anything. It's just basically you're intrigued by it, and you're turned by it. Let's just say that. And the Father says, "But seek the Father's kingdom, and then all those things that you want and desire in the earth will be yours." This is what I get now. All the desires of my heart, literally where I live now, and back home, is literally. He told me he made it with all the palm trees. He goes, "I made it just like you like it." I'm like, oh my gosh, do I have delusions of grandeur? Abba's talking to me, but that's how he talks to me. And then so many things. I ask him, "What do you want to do? What are you going to do about this?" And then he says to me, "What do you want to do?" This is the Father's kingdom coming, and it's going to be chaos, because out of the chaos is going to come order out of his laws. You see how that works? Mm-hmm. He's going to allow the chaos. What he said was, this is what you wanted. Here you go. You wanted lawlessness. Here it is. Churchanity, you wanted lawlessness. Here it is. Your kids look nothing different than the rest of the world of Babylon. They are Babylon, as a matter of fact. That's what this is about. So what do you think you're going to try to do better now? What do you want to do better? What do you want? You said the relationship could be better. What can you do to make the relationship better, Ephraim?
Search him out more.
Search him out. Yeah. Thank you for reading that paper last night about Eliyahu. That was kind of freaky, wasn't it? I mean, what'd you think of it? What you were understanding? It was a lot. Do you know what he even said? It had to be born in America, and he was a Gemini? Mm. Or the Gemini whatever?
Yeah.
It just freaks me out, but I have to do what he tells me to do, and this is who he's telling me I am, and this is what he's telling me to do, and I'm getting proof now. He's sending me. It's through him. Especially Stone has blessed me so much. Oh, hold on a second.